Okay, live again. I'm being brave today and trying to go live, and hopefully quality is good. Hopefully the stream holds up nicely. I'm playing around with Restream, trying a new format for talking about some topics. Clearly, a minute ago I had to start and then stop. I was trying to stream at 60 frames per second. LinkedIn says that's a no-no. So, note to self, we're fixing that. Anyway, today I want to talk very quickly about a couple topics. First is going to be Microsoft Teams signature rooms. Specifically, I want to talk about some thoughts I've had about them in terms of conversations I had at Infocom and some other places. People wanted to know, what is my take on signature rooms? Are they really just a catchy marketing play by Microsoft, or are they going somewhere? What is their value? How important are they? And so it really got me putting some thought to that. And the more I thought about it, the more I really got to understand how natural of a conversation team signature rooms are meant to enable you to have. When you think about it, let's kind of change views here and take a look at a signature room up on the screen. Now, there's a lot of facets of what a team's signature room actually is, but in terms of how it's laid out, what it looks like, you can see on the screen here that it's meant to have an arc table. You've got chairs around the table, but it's not a table where everyone is facing each other. It's arced enough to where you can kind of look over to the side and still talk to people in the room. But the main focus of this signature room is that you've got an intelligent camera in the room positioned right about eye level so that the far end remote participants are able to see you in kind of an eye-to-eye perspective. Now in the room, we've got a big display at the front. You've got the front row layout, which of course is a very immersive layout that can be used in these signature rooms. And at the bottom of this layout, you've got the gallery going all the way across. And as you look in this picture, then this image, that kind of puts the remote participants eye to eye with the people in the room. Now just think about that for a minute. In a lot of today's modern meeting rooms, where you've got that traditional long rectangular table or some other shape, the people outside of the room feel like kind of an add-on to the room. And it's kind of funny because in today's hybrid work world, the majority of meeting participants are probably not in the room. The room is probably the minority of people in that meeting. So it's kind of an unnatural feel to have this big long room with these remote participants. Yeah, you can see each other through the display in the room and they can see you on the far end. And depending on your camera, you may be reaching into that room decently, depending on your mic pickup, all those things. But as we look at a hybrid work world where more and more people are remote or not in that room space, how do we create this virtual table, this virtual space where the few people in the room feel like they're having a natural conversation with those people remotely, wherever they're at, coffee shops, home, another room somewhere else? You got to make them feel like they are looking eye to eye, having this face-to-face conversation as if they were all in that same meeting space. That's exactly what signature rooms aim to do. When you look at this layout, that is what's being achieved here. They are taking that traditional room. It's not just for executive purposes or town hall briefings. It's for the average hybrid work environment where you don't have as many people in the room anymore and you're trying to foster a more natural conversation among all types of collaboration. That's the goal. That's the whole purpose of these rooms. When I first heard about them and I first thought about them and I thought about the use cases, admittedly, I kind of thought, that's pretty, it's interesting, but what's the real use case? Oh, that's for executives, that's for big fancy spaces. That's going to require a complete furniture overhaul. And yeah, there are some differences in the furniture change up and the shape of the rooms. It doesn't have to be crazy expensive, although you can spend some money and put a really nice signature room in place. But the point is the layout, the way you're positioning people eye to eye, face to face at that level, making the conversation feel like everyone's involved. They're not that group of remote people down at the end of the table, right? So think about that. That's the thoughts that I arrived at as I was thinking about what is a signature room in my mind. As I look at it, what does it become, and how important is it to the future story of hybrid work? To me, rooms like this, that's going to be the most natural communication we can have in this hybrid work world. And natural is key, because as awesome as technology is, sometimes in rooms, it can feel like the technology gets in the way of real productivity. It's cumbersome or it doesn't feel natural. I keep going back to that word natural. And so we tend to shy away from it because it doesn't have a natural feel. Signature rooms, that's the whole goal. Make a natural conversation. So with that laid out, now I want to pivot to the topic of 180-degree field of view. Now at Jabra, 180-degree field of view is something that we talk about quite a bit. When we first came to market in the video space with the Panacast, the original Panacast, you can see this guy's got 3 different cameras on the front. They all get stitched together with intelligence behind the scenes to create an immersive 180-degree field of view. Now that doesn't mean I have a 90-degree field of view where I can only see out here, or a little bit wider 120-degree. 180-degree is everything, directly to both sides of you, all the way to the wall and all the way back. That's a very immersive video experience. And it's not just present on the Panacast. The Panacast 50 was then designed with the same principles in mind to have that 180-degree field of view. Extremely immersive, especially in those smaller rooms where you're really restricted on space and you need to get further into that room on both sides. And the Panacast 50 VBS, which was just recently announced to be certified for Microsoft Teams rooms. That is building on our Panacast 50 all-in-one collaboration bar to include our own Android operating system. Should see that hitting the market in September. Very exciting developments there. The point is this family has been built out with this 180-degree mantra that we have designed our cameras around. Now that's great for a lot of reasons that I just said, but in terms of this conversation that we're talking about, before I kind of paint a better picture of why 180 degree is so important, let's take one more look at what those signature rooms actually look like. Look closely at that picture. Look closely at the positioning of that camera. That camera is scooted all the way up to the table, and that table is wide. Now think about that room being much smaller. That is a nice marketing picture there. Think about a real world room where you have a lot less space. That room is not as deep. You have to push that table up almost all the way up to that wall, and in some cases that table needs to be touching the wall. Now you've got a camera that, if you don't have a 180-degree field of view at the front of that room, those 2 chairs on the very end, when the table is pushed all the way to the wall, are those people going to be seen? Are they going to be captured? And that's important if you're doing things like not just including people in the meeting, but counting people in the room. Can a camera count people in the room that it can't see? So look at that design. Look at how a signature room is supposed to be this more wide view to bring that face-to-face experience. And ask yourself why. Why in this image and in so many other images of signature rooms that we see from Microsoft and elsewhere, why so often is a Panacast 50 pictured in that space? That 180-degree view is key. You look at this example of a signature room. That is why 180 degrees is so important. That is what it does for you. It's not just to be all-inclusive and capture everyone. It's to get proper head counts. It's to better utilize the smaller meeting spaces and the changing meeting spaces that we're dealing with today. And it's to properly equip rooms that are like this, that look like this. This is the future of hybrid work. It's not just a fancy new initiative by Microsoft. Signature rooms are truly built to foster a natural conversational experience for all participants, regardless of where they're at. It's not about the room. It's not just about the remote participants. It's about the whole conversation feeling natural. And 180 degrees is simply the best fit for that scenario. All right, so this is my first stab at going live here on LinkedIn and I think Twitter. I think I'm also going to YouTube with this. I did a little bit of rambling. We'll try to perfect this over time. I'm going to work on my transitioning of scenes in OBS Studio. But hopefully you found some of these thoughts of mine, even if a little bit wordy and rambly, intriguing, interesting. I would really love to hear your thoughts in the comments below. So go ahead and add comments on there. If you found this insightful, please reshare on your social media platform of choice. I think I said Twitter, and I really should have said X. What do y'all think about that, huh? Twitter is rebranded to X now. So cool stuff. Just my thoughts on Microsoft Teams signature rooms and why 180 degrees is so important and why the Panicast 50 and the VBS are front and center in that conversation. Thanks for tuning in. Hopefully we'll see you back here for some other raw thoughts that I feel the need to pour onto social media live.